Hey Camaro Nation, I'm under the car at the moment, so I'll begin my video here. But I've been working on the reverse lights, and it was a little bit of a challenge. I mean, it's a 2-wire circuit, so electrically it really shouldn't be a challenge, but mechanically it was a little more involved. And the reason being, this is a 68, and 68 was the last year they put the reverse light switch on the transmission. It's right here in this bracket. And it mechanically connects to the shift linkage. Has a little baby rod there. So when the reverse lever moves, it makes the switch move. And 69, they put the reverse light switch on the base of the steering column. And there was a linkage that went from reverse here up to here. There was a cross piece that went to the column with a lever. And in those days, you had to put the car in reverse and then take the key out, because the key would lock the column and it wouldn't turn all the way back unless the shifter was in reverse. It was all tied together. So 68 was the last year they had the switch on the transmission, but 68 used a Muncie shifter. 67, 68 Camaros used a Muncie shifter. And they sucked, quite honestly. They were bulky. They bolted to the transmission with like a strut, but I think there was a connection of the cross member too. And they had like a slide piece that was at the shifter, like a plastic slide. Not the greatest shifters in the world. Everybody wanted them to put a Hurst shifter in them. 69 they finally did, but 68s did not come with a Hurst shifter. So my car has a Hurst shifter, so it's a much better shifter than it originally would have had, but that makes the reverse light linkage not work with the Hurst shifter. So I knew it would be a challenge to make it all work, and I was right. I mean, it wasn't a huge deal, but what I did with it was, first of all, I had to switch it upside down. I could have sworn the switch went down and it pulled, like, this way, I guess. But what I discovered was I was wrong. You would think the switch would work both ways. It does not. It only works in one direction. So I had to remount it the other way, but initially I had set it up so this rod went up to the top of the linkage arm. You can see there's a hole at the bottom. It's a really big hole. It's like probably 5/16. So I set it up with the switch pointed down originally because I'm stupid and didn't look at the proper pictures online correctly. So anyway, I set it up. I drilled a hole in here, which was a pain in the ass because that's a hardened shift lever. So I broke a couple of drill bits drilling through it, and those things are like 15 bucks a piece for carbide tip bits. So I drilled a hole through it, made it all work, and then I discovered the switch wouldn't work. That's when I just had the epiphany and said, oh, it's upside down, dumbass. So that's why I put an arrow on it to say, that way is 12 volts, to remind myself it goes this way. So I mounted the correct way. To get it to fit like this, I had to extend the arm on the bracket. The bracket originally put the switch on this kind of incline. This bolt hole here was way up here. I don't know if you can see it very well. So I just cut it off, welded a piece in to extend it down to make it work with my setup. I like it better that way. I mean, I know it looks a little funky and it's not technically correct, but it does work better. And your next question will probably be, well, if you mounted the switch in the right orientation, it's right by that hole. Why didn't you just use that hole? It's already there. You could have bent the arm, down, so it went like that. But looking at it, I'll show you why it didn't work. Ow. So right now we're in neutral. The way you set this up is you put the transmission in neutral, the switch in the neutral position. There's a little tiny hole right there. It's like a .078 hole, and that indexes with the back of the lever arm on the switch. That also has a little hole, see it up there? So what you do is, to get the switch in neutral, you put a drill bit through the two holes, line them up, and that's your neutral position. So right now it is in neutral, and right now my shifter lever is in neutral. You see the angle on it? So if you watch that arm on the switch, if you can see it very well, I'll try and get in there. All right, and you watch the shift lever arm, there's a huge difference in the amount they travel. I think that's a good place to put you. So let's put it in reverse. All right, if you watch the switch and you watch the shift arm, you can see the switch moves about a ½ inch and the shift arm moves about 2 inches. So to use that bottom hole would not have worked very well. So I would have had to travel the link up the switch. To limit how far it travels, when you come away from the center of an axle, you get more and more and more travel. You come closer to the center of the axle, you get less travel. It's just basic, geometry. So doing it the way I did it probably is the best way to do it. Whatever. Some professors out there might look at it and go, well, no, if you multiply the hypotenuse of the quadrangle by the blah, 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 whatever. This is the way I made it work. It works great. So now I just have to wire it and then test fire it, and that'll be that. I did ring out all the wiring already. I ran to a snag with that, which I didn't count on. So when I get the car back on the ground, I'll show you that. So let me hook up these wires and get this thing done, and I'll be right back. So the switch is all wired up. I took a slight liberty with this debris shield, rock shield, whatever it is. I'm sure it's to guard the switch against big objects. Typically, it just bolts on, and this wire just hangs. The tension on the wire is all that keeps it up here. I mean, you could tuck it in if you want, but it just seemed kind of crappy to me, especially being close to the exhaust. So what I did was I drilled the corner of it and tapped it to 632. I took a little insulated clamp, just twisted it 90, so when you bolt it on, it's in the proper orientation, front to back. So that'll keep my wire tucked up nice, off the ground, away from the exhaust. I don't like stress. It's a stress relief is all I did. One other thing I want to point out was if you look at these wires, the switch is green. It looks like a blue-green. And my wiring harness here is green, light green, and pink. And in a minute, that will be important when I get up top and show you the rest of the wiring. But suffice it to say, all the switch knows is power goes in and power is going out. That's all it has to know. So I could have easily crossed them. So pink went to light green and blue-green went to light green. But I've tried to keep things in phase for my own sanity. But again, when I get up top, I'll show you why that's important to note. One of the things I was going to show you was at the back of the car. This car has been converted to the Rally Sport package. So it's got the Rally Sport reverse lights cut into the pan, and they wire in, up here. And that requires a grommet to go to the trunk floor. I don't know if you can see it up there. But there's the light, and there's the grommet. So I had to do it on both sides. Had to figure out where they go, so I figured it out and made it work. So I want to note that. So while I'm under here, I took a quick detour to change my speedometer bullet. That's this gizmo, because it's leaking. And it's usually the O-ring seal or there's an O-ring inside. And I bought a new one. Not that they wear a lot, but because the seal kit was like $12 plus shipping, and the brand new bullet with all the seals in it already was like 17, and it's the updated style, so it has the bang-in slip seal. I just thought it was a better way to go. As far as I know, it'll thread right in. It should go to the speedometer cable. This one was laying in one of the parts boxes. This is the original Power Glide bullet, I'm assuming. I really don't know, but I just said, you know what, for 17 bucks, I'll buy a brand new one. And another nice surprise I encountered was when I went to connect the speedometer, I said, what's in the end of this gear? Something was in the end. I didn't know if it was grease or dirt or broken off something. Yeah, it was a broken off speedo cable. Isn't that nice? This car was like a Hitchcock novel. Surprise after surprise, twist after turn, man. So there we go, brand new bullet. I'll stick that in now and then call that done. Hopefully my leak will stop. So taking a quick visit to the trunk. This is just the top side of where I put those grommets in. And yes, I messed up on that one and I drilled a hole in the wrong spot, so I had to move it, patch that one up. But it's just, two random holes in the trunk. There's nothing marked that I'm aware of to show you where they go. At least I didn't see anything anyway. So I looked at pictures online, and honestly, the splash pan curves in, so you can't really go too far back. So after I screwed that one up, the left one, I decided to go a little further forward. So that's where they landed, and I just bought some grommets. I couldn't find the correct Rally Sport grommet. I found these that look similar, but I think the Rally Sport one is domed. This is domed on the other side, but to put it in domed looking, if they feed it in from the bottom, and getting up from the bottom is really hard. So I said, you know what, the hell with it, who cares? Just put it in from the top. It's not a real Rally Sport anyway, but it looks like one. So there you go, those are all hooked up. I put the correct connectors on it and all that stuff. So that should do the trick. Okay, we're inside the car, and the problem with the wiring was this. The way the circuit works, you get two wires that come out of the harness of the fuse box, okay? And in this case, they're light green. Where's my hand? Light green and pink. If you follow this cluster right here, it goes down to the fuse box. And what happens is the pink wire goes into the back of the fuse box, and that gets fed by the, I'll call it a bus bar. But if you look at the right side of the fuse box, you have, gauges, directional signal, radio, heater, wiper, and then you have, see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. Oops. Come on, here we go. And then in the center you have, it says ignition, that's a plug. Then there's courtesy battery, blah, blah, blah. If you go on the back of that fuse box, what you got is all those terminals are fed by one accessory circuit, which is, I believe, pink also. So the pink wire basically just goes into those. It gets fed all the time, and they're all fused, and that lives happily ever after. That feeds all the accessories with the key on. The green wire, the light green wire, if you follow that one, it goes down into the harness at the back of the fuse panel, and comes out here, and then goes up into this plug, which goes into the main harness of the body, which goes up here, then it goes down here, and it goes all the way to the back of the car, into the trunk, into the reverse lights, into those grommets I showed you. That's how the reverse light circuit works. It's very simple. 12 volts goes through the pink wire, and then junctions into this harness right here, which goes through the firewall up here, and then goes under the car, which is the harness I just showed you. It's a 2-wire circuit. And like I said, it was confounding me, and I said, dude, if you can't fix a 2-wire circuit, it's time to hang up the continuity tester and just go home and start collecting stamps or whatever. So the problem was I couldn't get power to connect correctly to the circuit. I couldn't figure out why, and then it occurred to me, when you come in here with the pink and the light green come together in this plug, there's a plug right here that clips onto this rod, which is a dashboard support, steering column support. Then it goes up, and then it goes down, then it goes to the firewall. They change color right here. For whatever reason, they start out pink and light green, and they turn to light green and dark green. I don't know if it's because the wiring harness and the fuse panel are from American Auto Wire, and I think this other harness, the sub harness, reverse light harness they call it, is from like M&W or someone else. I really don't know. If you notice down below, the switch was like medium green and like blue green. The switch I bought off a guy who had it on eBay. Lived in New Hampshire, which is like 20 minutes, half an hour away. So I scored it for like $20. The switch is like $65, so it was a good deal. It was the whole package, like $25. So I said, what the hell, I'll just buy it from him. So there was a mismatch of colors. It doesn't really matter as long as you phase them correctly. So like, for instance, if you phase it so pink is on this side of the plug and light green is on that side of the plug, on the other side of the plug, you have a corresponding color, which becomes the pink, which in this case is the dark green. And then the light green stays the light green. It doesn't really matter what color they are. Sure, it'd be great if they were all color coordinated, so there's continuity to the whole car. And then when you ring things out, you can say, okay, green's here, green's there. It's the same green, I know that. This is why I check everything with a continuity tester, ohm meter, all that crap, just to make sure I have continuity from end to end. It's kind of tough with a 15-foot car, but you can make it happen. So I did that, and I couldn't get power to it, and then light dawned on Marble Head, as they say. These two wires, the pink and the light green, the ones that came out of the harness, they were reversed here. So I had pink going to light green, and this light green going to dark green. So I just took them out, moved them over, and voila, everything works perfect now. So I'm gonna hook up the battery. I'm gonna show you the reverse lights are not on. The dashboard is not on fire. Then I'll put it in reverse, and miraculously, the reverse lights will come on if there's a God. They worked the other day, they should work today. Now that everything is hardwired, ready to go. So stand by. All right, Camaro fans, the battery is connected. You see the interior light is lit. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. So we have battery power. Transmission is in neutral, I believe. Yes, it is. I'll turn the key on. Dashboard's not on fire. I don't know why I'm so paranoid of this car catching fire. Electrical stuff, I guess it just bugs me until I know it's, bulletproof. So reverse lights are not on, okay? Now we're walking back into the car. Now we're gonna grab the shifter. We're gonna go reverse, boom. And now we walk back and the reverse lights will be on, right? Of course they will. Yay, they're on. Look at that, huh? Woo, look at me, I did something right. All right, let me go turn them off. Still no smoke, nothing's burning. Now we're neutral again. And they're off. Let's do it one more time. Just make sure it wasn't a fluke. Okay, ready? Boom, to reverse. And we have reverse lights. Yes, that's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, so that is done. It's as simple as that. It's a simple circuit. Power goes in the switch. The other side connects to the harness. You put it in reverse, the switch moves, the circuit is connected, power now flows through the other side of the harness, lights up the lights, and we'll live happily ever after with a well-lit back end of the car when I'm going to parallel park or whatever. So there you go, simple as that. And you know, I showed you this wiring thing because I don't want anybody else to get caught up too. You gotta pay attention, that's my fault. I was asleep at the switch. I should have been on top of that one. I should have said light green goes to light green. Why is light green going to pink? Should have been a light bulb going off, but whatever. I caught it, I fixed it, it's done. So that's a story. Now I can get back on more important things. I'm waiting for a part for my tack. For whatever reason, once I rebuilt my gauges, my tack doesn't want to go below 500 RPM now. You can push it, but it bounces right back up. So guys online said that usually means the circuit board behind the tack is no good. There's a guy on eBay who sells circuit boards, new improved ones. He seems to be very slow to respond and slow to ship. I ordered it, I'll be 2 weeks next Wednesday. That's when it's supposed to be here. It's only coming from New Orleans. It's like it's coming from Mars, but whatever. I don't know what his deal is, but hopefully I'll put that thing in and life will be wonderful. If not, I'll figure something out. So there you go. Hopefully you learned something about the reverse light circuit. And again, I make these videos to help people. Sometimes I go online, I look for answers, they're not there. And I say, okay, well, somebody has to do a video about this particular thing. That's why I do this. I don't do it for any other reason. I don't get paid by YouTube. I don't get sponsorship from anybody. I get nothing. The best I get is when someone says, hey man, good video, thanks. That's the mental payback I get. That's what I'm into. It's all I'm here for. So I do field a lot of comments. I don't block comments on my videos. Some guys feel the need sometimes to give me their opinion, tell me what a moron I am. One guy was quoting Bible passages the other day because, I obviously have no shame and lack of conscience because I swear in my videos. You got to be kidding me. So I'm not trying to go on a rant. I'm just saying I just do these videos to help. If they help you, that's great. If they don't, sorry I tried. If you don't like the content of my videos, please don't watch them. It's not good for you and it's not good for me. If I say something you don't like, I use a bad word, well, I'm sorry. Don't watch my videos anymore. I'm going to go burn in hell and you're going to ascend to the kingdom and you're going to have the last laugh. Whatever. You don't need to comment what a fool I am, what a foul mouth I am. You really don't need to. So I wish you all well. I hope your projects are going swell. I'll keep plugging away on this guy, and someday we'll actually have a ride and drive video with a couple of burnouts, I hope, and that'll be happy days. So take care. Talk to you later.